up next we've got Tammy and the T-Rex from
Which is a movie
1994.
I have no idea why we watch.
Well, I don't know if it's just on the Blu-ray or not, but on the Blu-ray it's titled Tanny and the Teenage T-Rex.
No, I know there's a 2 on the print I was watching.
Yeah, so I haven't looked into too much why that is, because I believe her name in the movie is Tammy, so it just doesn't make sense. Or maybe someone... I mean, the N button is so close to the M button on a keyboard. Maybe they just accidentally put the N buttons instead of M, and they're like, fuck it, it couldn't be fucked going back and changing it now. Maybe that was the case. But, anywho, so this movie, essentially a evil scientist implants a brain of a high school student into a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he escapes, he wreaks vengeance on his high school tormentors, and continues his quest to get into Tammy's panties, I guess. So, it's just a bonkers movie. You start off the movie with a fight where guys are just grabbing each other's crotches. It's like a serious fight too, so that makes it even more weird. Testicular standoff, as that one guy said. Yeah, and that pretty much sums up the movie, I think.
Yeah, if probably not wrong.
Yeah, this movie was actually gorier than I was expecting, though. I was expecting a stupid movie, but I wasn't really expecting the level of gore that we got in the movie, like heads being ripped off and things. So, there were certainly moments to the movie that were enjoyable, but I think also, like I mentioned on one of the earlier movies we discussed, just inconsistent. I was finding parts of the movie I was having fun with, and then other parts I wasn't.
Yes. This movie is so far removed from what I'd usually be watching, and I'm not even sure what to say about it. The whole plot was, after a while, ridiculous, which I can imagine for many people as a selling point. Just this guy's brain being emplaced in a mechanical dinosaur body, and he's trying to communicate with his girlfriend like, hey, I'm alive and I'm a dinosaur machine guy now. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they had a basic story, but it seemed to be a bit all over the place. Some scenes, I'm assuming this whole thing was made as a joke. I don't really know the story behind it, but in some scenes it seems like they're playing it a bit more serious. In other scenes, like the gay guy, for instance, he was like obviously like intentionally over the top. So I mean, he was an interesting character, I guess, but I don't know. This is a type of movie that I've not really experienced much others like it before, and after seeing this, I'm somewhat hoping I never experience something like it again.
Yeah, it's nice to see that just, a punch to the face from a woman is enough to knock you out for surgery, but it's an interesting sedative method.
I did occasionally like the the goofy doctor. I think he was going for like a German Swiss accent type thing, and he was sometimes funny. I could have done without the whole stereotypically named Hauger, because Hauger's the only name German women have. I could have done without her character, but the main doctor was, in his own goofy way, somewhat amusing.
Yeah. I think, like earlier in the film, we see, okay, this Billy guy is just, he's over the top asshole, and obviously once the dinosaur aspect comes into it, and we know, okay, he's gonna come back as a dinosaur, and he's gonna kill these guys. I kind of felt like that should have been the story, as opposed to killing them in the first half hour and then just going off and doing all these other things. Spoiler alert, I don't think anyone's going to care too much about spoiling anything in this movie, but when he does kill Billy, like rips his head off, and it was, it's still in the earlier stages of the film, I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, so are we going to get credits now? I mean, what else is there to do? Like, the movie set it up so you come back, you kill him, and that's it. So I don't know. I just felt like that's what the movie should have done instead of doing that and then spending another almost hour just doing whatever.
Yeah, I certainly. A part of me wonders if they had necessarily a script in mind. I'm sure, like I said, they had a basic story, but I sort of wonder if some of this wasn't maybe made up on the spot.
We're just gonna make up a movie while we film it.
Like, it's like, hey, like 16 minutes before seeing, hey, let's do this instead, guys. I mean, I don't know. It seems to me that a lot of this stuff in this movie is somewhat loosely connected, and even once things start coming together, like the whole scene where the two friends holding up cadavers, hey, this body okay for you? And he's just doing thumbs down, like, oh god, why am I watching this?
On another note, how is I'm looking this up on IMDb and it's listed as PG-13. How is this PG-13?
I don't know about you, but I've been actually hearing about this movie a bit more recently, and I think part of it's because they recently found a lot of the goriest scenes.
Okay.
And initially, well, maybe not initially, but at some point this movie was released without the gory scenes, and because of that it was probably a lot more, or obviously it was a lot more family friendly because there's no gore. So on a side note, I can't imagine watching this movie in those conditions. So I think because of the I guess recently found footage, they'll probably change it, I'd assume, to an R rating.
The scene towards the beginning where Denise Richards is on the phone to Paul Walker and she's asking him to come over, and he's pretty excited, and I would be too, but that if that was me, it'd be like Roadrunner just leaving pew. Just mentioning that.
Yeah, you're just hoping that she has condoms so you do not care.
There are other ways. But look, despite the movie just being all over the place and not being consistently enjoyable, I do enjoy that they decided to end the movie with Denise Richards doing a striptease.
That went on way too long, though.
That's just... If you end any movie that way, it's going to end on a positive note. So I was left somewhat fulfilled.
So is that an 8 out of 10
then? Not quite. Yeah, so like I said, I really enjoyed the ending to this film. And therefore, I am going to give this, like I've given multiple movies that we've discussed on today's show, a 6 out of 10. And, I need to watch this probably a couple more times because this is my first time watch, and I tend to have a different rating for a movie after I've seen it a few more times. So yeah, if I get to watch Denise Richards for most of the movie, I mean, I'm not going to have a terrible time with it. So 6 out of 10, there you go.
Yeah, so I guess my main issue with this is it was just way too goofy. It may not have always intended to be as goofy as it was, but some of the performances, such as the German doctor, obviously he was overplaying his character. So I'm assuming this was out some type of joke, but there were some enjoyable scenes. There's some almost funny lines, I guess. I don't know. I'm just giving this one a 5 out of 10.
Well, sounds like you had a great time with it. And I like that when I look up this movie on IMDb, one of the first pictures that you can find of it is the crotch grabbing.
I will say I probably enjoyed this movie a little more than I usually had because I actually watched it with a friend of mine. So at least I had company while I was suffering through this, which made it. I mean, if I was watching this alone, I may not have gotten a 5.
And what did they have to say about the movie?
So I think the exact lines were they did not quote unquote have a bad time with it. Now,
nice.
To be fair, this guy is he was a zoology major, so he just likes seeing a dinosaur go around doing this type of stuff. So hey, as long as he had an okay time with it.
Well, there you go.